Hello, I'm Jay Bowman, and thank you for your interest in this, our fourth quarter forecast of 2020 for construction spending put in place for Canada. As we close the books on 2020, the question is, where did the year end up? Well, right now it appears that 2020 will end up down 6% compared to 2019. Now, that was obviously exacerbated by the pandemic and all that it brought, but that decline was also driven by prior issues that we were seeing with volatile oil prices as well as international trade uncertainty. If there's a silver lining in this 6% decline we expect for 2020, is that we're actually past the largest downturn in this current cycle. In fact, for 2021, we're projecting a 3% decline, which would mark the trough or the bottom of this current cycle. Most of that is actually driven by residential, which represents 40% of all construction spending across Canada. Comparatively, non-residential buildings and non-building structures will only be down 1% and 3% respectively in 2021. And again, with 2021 representing the trough, we're actually a full year ahead of the United States in terms of construction recovery. Of course, all construction spending and activity is local. And so when we look at this spending on the provincial level, we see that Alberta and Quebec will actually be perhaps a little bit less in terms of growth compared to what we see on the national level. Now, this is largely due to the oil and gas volatility in Alberta, as well as more stringent lockdowns in Quebec. But there are some bright spots, particularly in infrastructure and transportation-related investments. By comparison, Ontario and BC may actually see stronger growth, as both of these actually managed the pandemic fairly well and actually had positive investment throughout last year. From a segment perspective, as we look out over the next 5 years through 2024, what we can see is that several of these segments that are in the growth category, highway and street, transportation, sewage and waste disposal, etc., are really benefiting from government investment over the next several years, which contributes to their strong growth as we see through 2024. By comparison, power, which is one of the largest segments in the country, with the volatility in oil and gas prices again, really starting to pull that back, along with some of the residential improvements because of the massive amount of activity that occurred really during the last year and the years prior. And even though we do appear to be emerging from the pandemic fairly well, with vaccinations starting to become more available and understanding who the most vulnerable in our society are, we still see several of these other segments, which really depend on crowds and large gatherings, will continue to struggle over the next couple of years, particularly in the commercial, office, amusement and recreation, and lodging segments. In all economies, bear markets and bull markets coexist at all times. And as we've seen today, even with a 3% decline projected for 2021, that can vary widely, whether by segment or province. Therefore, I recommend that you download the full report at www.fminet.com. Better yet, contact myself or one of our consultants or investment bankers to talk about your specific issues and the context within your own organization and what options may be available to you.